I said. She grabbed my hand, girls rescue, met the bar, witnessing. Tears fled the head, I'm weak, now guess she tweet. I guess she confess, she thinking less, I'm drinking less. Bathroom says, best to get spontaneous. I stereotype, put to rest tonight. Imagine, believe, and achieve, it works. Skyline as a rock like fireworks.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to After the Storm. Of course, I'm your host, Matt Clark. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the Thunder versus the Heat. And once again, the Thunder come up short, but we did play hard as usual. But the second quarter was the death of us again. And we'll talk about, or obviously we're going to get into detail about all this here in a minute. But once again, the Thunder fall 108 to 120, now dropping to 20 and 50, tying the longest losing streak in history of the Thunder, 8 games. Of course, the Heat improving to 47 and 24, still leading the East. But anyway, I want to say that starting off that I'm proud of what our guys did. Once again, we're undermanned. I know we keep saying that, but you have 8 guys out. I don't care who you are, I don't care what team you are. You're losing your 80 of your players, and you got to come up with G League players. You're going to do the best you can, and I will say the Thunder are doing a pretty good job considering what we're playing with. But I will say that once again, support our guys, go to the games, show them some love, let them know that you do care about them, because young kids, you are young. Remember when you were 20, you needed some love and needed an encouragement. So anyway, let's get into it. Let's talk about our keys to the game. Wanted us to take care of the basketball, be patient offensively. Please, please, please finish at the rim. And that was one of the things that drives me crazy about us, is finishing at the rim. And then don't let them get into a groove, because Tyler Hero and those guys and Robinson, and once they get going, they're hard to stop. So don't let them get into a groove, and they keep their open shots to a minimum, because they're very physical and they like to try to push teams around. So part of what I wanted us to do was be more physical with them and just not let them get into a groove and try to get their hand up in shots, because these guys, they shoot in volume, and once they get going, the Heat, they can fire it up. And so I just don't give them any open shots. Try to get your hands up as much as possible. So did that really happen? No, not really, because they got off an 11-2 start. And basically every time that happens, why? SGA doesn't get involved right away. And when you have, Poku and Bays at the same time in there, they tend to try to do their own thing. You have to let SGA start. The offense has to go through him. Once the offense goes through him, life is a lot easier for everybody. But the ball has to go through SGA. And then once that happened, Thunder got back in the game. We were right on their heels. And that's the one thing I do love about us. Once SGA gets going, then it allows everybody else to free up. It allows everybody else to kind of just be loose and don't feel like, I got to make a play, I got to make a shot, I got to make something happen. Guys aren't capable of doing that. So let SGA get involved. Let him get you the play, because they're going to double team. They're going to try to keep him out of the lane. And he's very, very good and very, very shifty once he gets deep into his bag with his spin moves, his hesitations. And then, of course, he's got those long arms, and he's magnificent at using the glass, which I talked about earlier in a couple of our live streams. I wish some other people were better at that. But I want to say that it was a great finish by us. We did not let them push us around. We got back in the game. And, just being with our identity. Our identity is slow the game down. Let's take good shots. Let's get to about 10 seconds into the let SGA do his thing about attacking. They come over, he kicks it off. If we cut to the basket, he'll get you the pass, which he did a great job of tonight. So those are things that we have to do in order to maintain a somewhat of a close game. Because if we don't, and we don't do that, and we don't be patient offensively, and we don't cut to the basket, we don't move without the ball, we're in trouble. And when you look at the first half stats, this will tell you everything you need to know when you look at it. Because, the first quarter, it was 26-27 is what it ended. You can look at the 3 points, 3 for 7, which is great for us. Weren't shooting a lot. They were 5-15. You know they're going to put the ball up. They're going to shoot threes. You know this. And then 43% from the field, 44% for us, which meant playing great defense, keeping the guys in front, not giving up a bunch of open shots. 15 or 12 on rebounds, which is good because they have some very athletic guys, and I thought our big guys did a good job of rebounding and keeping them off the glass. Points in paint, 14. My 14 for us, 8 for them. And then what did I talk about? One of my keys was take care of the basketball. And what did we do? We only had 3 turnovers compared to 1 for them. And one thing I noticed is that I don't think they had any fouls, maybe 1 called on them in the first quarter. And there's players physical as they are, for them to only get like 1 foul. I mean, that was ridiculous for us not to be shooting free throws, especially the way that Miami plays, because they're physical as hell. They like to get in your grill. And if you attack the baskets, which we do, they should get way more fouls called on them than that. So I'm not sure what was going on with that, because we were getting to the basket. We were finishing it. We were knocking down shots. It wasn't like they were – I didn't really notice any noticeable fouls, but they were keeping their body on us. And, it depends on the referees. It's just like in any other basketball game. The referees call it differently. Some referees like it, call it tight. Some referees let you play. Or, it just depends on who it is. You just don't know which one you're going to get until the game gets going, and then once you get into the flow. So clearly, this group of officials, we're going to let both teams play, especially them. So the Thunder come out in the second quarter, okay? And our starting lineup was Trey, man, who was huge, Wiggins, Krejci, Roby, and Maladon. Now, that being said, what happened? What happened with us? Trey Man happened. 10 points. He was just a beast. Got us back in the game. Great start. Clearly he was happy to be home. And then what happened? We made a couple substitutions. And you have Krejci and Waters in there both at the same time. You cannot do that. They go on a 16-2 run. We missed back-to-back threes because what did I say in the first? Be patient offensively. We were not. That's the problem. When you don't have SGA in there, you don't have a guy who's running, who slows the ball down, where Trey Man likes to go up and down the court. So when you don't have somebody who can slow it down on every possession and makes it slow, you don't do that. Trey Man is flying up and down the court because he was playing at home, and he had 20 of his 22 points at halftime. 20 of them came in his quarter. And let's face it, the game should have been way farther out of hand than it was if it wasn't for him, because he did keep us in. He was knocking down shots. But he was clearly glad to be home, and he did fantastic, and I'm really proud of Trey. And he's coming along. He's a nice rookie. I really like his game. But on the other side of it, they took full advantage of matchups with us. When we come in with certain games, certain guys, you get, certain teams, they look at that and they go, oh, because I know I used to do the same thing. I look at this guy matchup, oh, yeah, I'm eating tonight. I'm getting full tonight. This guy guarded me, oh, no doubt. And they do the same thing. And, in the San Antonio game the other night, it was the same thing with us. They couldn't stop us, and we were just knocking down shots like crazy because they couldn't guard us. And you saw tonight they got killed by New Orleans by what? They were down by 30 at some point during the game. It was ridiculous. I think it was, 72-38 or something ridiculous. I saw that. I'm like, wow. And San Antonio, you're trying to catch up and get near to be like 7th or 8th in the West. And that's the team that's in front of you, and you get smashed like that at home. Wow. I'm sure the crowd was not happy about that. I know I would not have been. But when you look at that, letting them go on a 16-2 run, you can't do it. You can't do it. And it just killed us in the second quarter, that 16-2 run. But once again, we have no choice. You have to substitute. You can't play SGA the whole time. He's playing 31 to 35 minutes. He's playing as much as he can play. You can't, he's on a bum ankle. So, you got to look at the guys doing what he can do. So, let's look at the stats for the second quarter. Once again, we gave up 42 points in the second quarter, only scoring 28, which is about we average around 100. I think it was 105 or so a game. So 28 points is about average for us. 26 we had the first quarter. We only gave them up 27. They had 42. And it's always when we have certain lineups that the teams just their bench they just take advantage of us. And when our starters on in full go, you have Baisley knocking down crazy shots and SGA in his bag, and you got other people scoring. We just can't. You can't keep up. Poku, having a big night. You can't keep up with these teams. And you look at the three, the Thunder were 8 for 19. Remember, we were 3 for 7 the first quarter. Okay, so we went 5 for 12, which is really nice. The Heat were 5 for 15, and they went 4 for 9, but they shot 56%. But you can see where the difference was points in the paint. They went from 8 to 30. So they scored 22 points in the paint. That was the difference. They just killed. They just beat us up, scoring, getting to the basket. And you can see we shot 48%. They shot 56. 22 rebounds to 19. And then we had 8 turnovers to just their 1, which is ironic because they average 14 TOs a game. And are you serious right now? You average 14 TOs a game, and this is what we get? You're not giving us turnovers? They only had 1? I mean, wow. But when you look at it, and you see what happened, it's right there. Points in the paint. My pip. 30 points in the total. They had 8 in the first quarter. And that was the difference right there. The difference right there. They weren't missing shots. And when they did miss them, they were getting second chance points and getting the ball back and scoring in lane or attacking us, scoring at the basket. That's what happened. Couldn't guard them. So therefore, you're down 15 at half, 54 to 69, simply because of those simple reasons. You have to be able to guard people. You have to be able to defend. Now, going into the third quarter, of course, we had SGA, Mann, Poku, Bays, and Sarr. And the reason why you went with that group is because of Trey Mann. That's why we went with that starting line of SGA, Mann. We stuck Mann in there simply because, hey, he was on fire. And you needed something. We're down 15. And so what do you have to do? You have to get off to a good start. What did they do? They go on 11-5 start, 19-8 run on us. To start the game, to start the third quarter. But the thing is that we just didn't seem in sync. And like I said all the time, I don't like changing my lineups. I like whoever I start the game with, I go to the third quarter with, because now you're in a rhythm of I'm coming off the bench or I'm starting. And it just doesn't, it screws you up when you do it. That's just my belief. But anyway, he stuck Mann in there. I completely understand why he did. Trey's at home. He was coming off a big second quarter, 20 points in the quarter, but it got us out of sync. It just didn't seem like we just didn't have it. And they just went on a 19-8 run to start us. They hit us in the mouth, and we just never recovered. Just never recovered. But like I said, I think we just didn't seem like we were not necessarily not ready to play, but I don't think that, like I said, we seemed out of sync. We weren't really moving together, weren't getting around together. It just didn't seem right. We didn't look right. And you could tell that. And it made a huge difference. So let's look at the third quarter stats. Like I said, the starting lineup was SGA, Mann, Poku, Bays, and Sarr. 34 points that quarter. Gave up 42 and 35. 42 and 34. And remember, we went 26. What do we go? 26, 28, 25 in our three quarters. And they went 27, 42, 34. But then you can look at the numbers, tell you everything you need to know. You look at it. 9 for 28 from 3. And remember, in the second quarter, what were we? We were right there. 17 to 41 they were for the start of the game. 17 to 41. Just absolutely murdering us from the 3. Remember, they were 56%. They dropped down to 43. We were at 48%. We dropped down to 43. And it's simply because, like I said, we were just out of sync. And when you look at these numbers, it tells you everything you need to know. Rebounds, 38-36. Points in the paint, 34-38. So we did a better job of that. We outscored them in the paint that quarter, 10-8 that quarter, 10-8 that quarter. So that was good. And then you look at turnovers. Hey, that looked pretty good, didn't it? 10 turnovers to their 9. Excuse me, we had 9 turnovers to their 2. I screwed that up. That's from the last game. I didn't do that. We had 9 turnovers, and they had 2. That's my bad. They had 9 turnovers. Excuse me, we had 9 turnovers. They had 2 for that quarter. So at the end of the third, it was 79-103 for that quarter, or for the game at that point. And I'm just looking at our team, and you could almost see it. It was just like the guys, you could just see them. I don't know if they were necessarily giving up, because that's really not our team. But you could see the frustration in the guys, or you could just tell they were frustrated because of the way they were playing. They were pressing. Instead of letting the game come to them, we were pressing. But uncharacteristically, Coach D started the SGA for the fourth quarter. He never starts the fourth quarter, never starts the second quarter. So we had SGA, Poku, Wiggins, Krejci, and Bays to start. We wanted to go small ball, clearly, to start. But basically, didn't help. They got our way up. They were up on 29 on us. We cut it back down to 12. But basically, the game was over. We could not keep up, and I think SG only played like 3 minutes, 4 minutes. So because they were just, like I said, the thing I did not want us to do, one of my keys to the game was keeping them and not letting them get in the groove because of who they are. And once they did, there wasn't a lot we could do with them. There wasn't a lot to do. And it's hard for me really to get in there and dissect games, and I really like the San Antonio game. I can give you much more insight. I can tell you because you can break it down. The games are close. When the games are like this, it comes down to things. You look at the stats, and the stats tell the whole story. So when we look at the fourth quarter stats and the game final stats, we lost 108-120. We were 10 for 34 from the three-point line. They were 18 for 51. Which, what does that tell you? We did pretty good because they only made one. They were 1 for 3 from the three-point line in fourth quarter. Why? Because they were already up. And when you look at field goal percentage, they dropped all the way down to 48%. We were at 47%. Points in the paint, 54-48. Rebounds, 47-46. Turnovers, how about that? 10-6. We only had 10 turnovers, but they had 6. A team that normally has 14 turnovers a game, they only had 6. What does that tell you? Our defensive pressure did not affect them whatsoever. That's what that tells you. That we weren't physical enough with them. That's what that tells you. Everything else is just right and same, but they killed us in the third quarter. Our second quarter killed us. Our third quarter killed us. Back-to-back quarters, which is something that we don't normally do as a group or as a team. But when you look at their, and I got Spurs instead of Heat down at the bottom because I did a template, and I've got to fix that, and I will do that in the future. Sorry about that. But they outscored us 40-64. 40-64. 40-64. Okay, that's just, you just can't do that. Our team is young. The coaching staff is doing as best they can with what we have out there to play with. But you can't give up 18 threes against San Antonio and then 19 threes against the Heat and expect to win. Now, granted, we should have won the San Antonio game. Okay, he threw up a 3 at the end, whatever. I still say that at the end of the game, some things happened and you had to go back and look. and go to YouTube. Okay, after the storm dash OKC Thunder, and you can pull up and watch the broadcast against the Spurs, and it'll tell you everything to know. Or you go to my Facebook page and go down there and sample the after the storm game, and it'll tell you exactly what happened. I mean, exactly what happened. But you can't give up 18 and 19 threes back to back games. You can't expect to do that to win. Our defense let us down uh, both games, but especially tonight. You can't give up 42 points in a quarter. That's just, you just can't give up 40 points in a quarter. And you can't give up 30 plus points in multiple quarters in a row like we did against San Antonio. We did that tonight. 42 and 37. You can't do that. You can't give up multiple 30-point quarters. That's just unacceptable for us. That's not who we are. We're a better defensive team than that. But when you do that, and we are young and having games that close together, it's kind of hard. But then you got Sunday. You have a day of rest tomorrow. Fly to Orlando. Have your time. Spend the night in Miami. Go out and have all the fun you want to have. Get to Orlando tomorrow. Go through your stuff. Chill out. Get some rest. Maybe, I'm sure Trey's going to be seeing his family. And on Sunday, come back and get a W and get off this slide. Because you can beat Orlando. You have the team to beat Orlando. We can do that. But I want to say this, guys, keep your head up. Talk to the Thunder. Keep your head up. Keep fighting. We do believe in you. We are proud to be Thunder fans. We are proud to have a team in Oklahoma City. And we do support you. That being said, Thunder drop to, it's very frustrating, drop to the Heat. But of course, they are the number one team in the East. And we're followed to 40, 20 and 49, or 20 and 50. They're 47 and 24. Eighth straight game we've lost. We've got to get off that slide. We've got to get off, and I think that we have a very good chance against Orlando on Sunday. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for watching the show tonight. Everybody be safe. Peace out. I'm your host, Matt Clark.